Everybody, it's Q4. And if you're like pretty much everybody else, you're planning for what you're going to do in 2017. And at the base of all of our businesses is our team. Whether that's a buyer's agent, a listing agent, or just an ISA or a VA. And look, I got to tell you, if you're doing work that you can outsource to an ISA, like setting appointments, come on. Go find somebody and leverage your time. That's how you're going to grow. Look, I got to tell you, everybody knows we need great talent. Everybody knows they need good talent on their team. But the problem is, how do you find it? How do you find those people? How do you do it effectively from a time perspective? I just met these guys, Wise Hire. These guys will help you grow. Here's what they'll do. Let's say you need an ISA, Wise Hire will, number one, help you craft your job ad. I guarantee you they've written thousands more than you have. Then, they'll do the work. They'll post it on all the big job boards. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, you know the places. And here's the magic. As candidates apply, Wise Hire automatically administers the DISC assessment. Okay, that's the personality profile. They'll tell you how close this guy's or girl's personality is to the job that you just posted. So look, if you're serious about growing your business, go check out a couple of great resources from WiseHire. Go to the site, get their free ebook. It's going to teach you everything you know about hiring in real estate. You can go to wisehire.com/super. That's WIZE hire.com/super. Get your own free profile to learn your personal strengths and weaknesses. And most importantly, if you need to make some hires, register for Wise Hire. Start making smarter hiring decisions today. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Today's guest, let me tell you what we're going to cover. We're going to cover at about the 22-minute mark around, we're going to cover some innovative strategies. And this is the whole reason that I had this guy on the show. He said, hey, man, he reached out to us and said, hey, man, I'm doing something nobody else is doing. It's all innovative, and I want to come and share it. So I said, all right, we'll put something on tape. And it's good enough that I'm sharing it with you guys. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint of what those innovative strategies are. And it's mainly a strategy. It's a big one in a second. But some of the other stuff that we cover that's important to you is that how you might unknowingly be projecting neediness in your business. And when and if you project neediness, and I'm telling you, there's things that we all, or many of us do without realizing, and that's killing our business. So we talk about that. We talk about, how to turn your regular old clients into raving fans. That's an old one. We've all heard it, but it's worth repeating. And then on the innovative strategy, here's the teaser. When we onboard someone with radio, we have very specific radio copy, and one of the things that I tell them to do when they get into a listing presentation, for differentiation, is to explain that list your house with me, and the first thing I do, that I scrub your property against my database and then the brokerage's database prior to putting it on the market, blah, blah, blah. We get multiple offers this way. Boom. So basically a matching, basically creating a marketplace. So today's guest, this strategy talks about is about how he creates a marketplace and matches sellers with sellers. So can you do it without a giant list? Sure you can. But listen to it. So that's what we cover. Now, before we get to the episode, I got to tell you a couple things. I mentioned this last episode, and I'm going to be talking about it for the next probably 5 or 6 weeks. We are putting together a summit. We're putting together an online conference, virtual. We have 45 speakers of the best speakers in this industry lined up. everybody from Bob Corcoran to Michael Mayer. Like we have an all-star lineup. How much is it? Free. Okay, so you can check out the landing page, and you can get your free ticket. The landing, it should have all been done by yesterday. It's not, but you can go to getlistingssummit.com and read a little bit about it. We have not yet released the full roster of speakers, but that's the thing that we're doing, and this is all a big setup to a real live event happening sometime late 2017. So that's it. Real quick, if you just found the show, welcome. Glad you did. Go to superagentslive.com. Subscribe. If you are feeling generous, it's the holidays, give me a rating and review. You know, that really, really helps other people find it. If you want to follow me or listen to what I'm saying on Twitter, I'm at superagentslive. All right. I hope you like it. Go get them. Today on the show, today's guest has some innovative strategies we're going to talk about he has used to build his business. He's up in Canada. I don't know where. We'll find out. But he's got a team of 4. With that team of 4, he's doing 100+ deals. So we're going to find out what he's doing and see if you guys can take some of these modules and bolt it onto what you're doing out there. I'm thrilled to welcome Joel Sherlock. Joel, thanks for taking the time, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
So listen, we're going to get into all the stuff that you're doing, but before we get there, I always want to know a little bit about who you are. So tell us about the man behind the brand.
Yeah. I mean, real Coles Notes, I sort of stumbled into real estate, right out of high school. You get out of the house as quick as you can, or at least I did. And, as a finance guy, so I was first-year finance student, and you run the numbers, do you rent or buy? Well, I ended up buying with a buddy, and we bought a terrible little condo in a not-so-nice neighborhood and put a few bucks into it, maxed out our credit cards, and it was our place. 6 months in, he met a gal and unfortunately wanted to move in with her. And he said, hey, why don't you buy me out? And I checked the couch, and there was no extra cash laying around, so I had to sell it. And it was interesting because we put it on the market 6 days in. We bought it for $89,000. We put $2,500 into it, and we sold it in 6 days for $145,000.
Oh,
so killer
nice.
Return.
Yeah.
But I never really looked at it like that. I mean, I thought, what an inconvenience. Now I got to do this all over again, but at least this time it's going to be mine, and I won't have a partner on it. So by the time that was done, I thought, I wonder what I could sell this for. And that was, 15 years ago, and I've been in the real estate market ever since. First as an investor, and then teamed up with one of my realtors and actually opened an independent brokerage before I was licensed, which, by the way, for anyone listening, that is totally backwards. Don't recommend it.
Don't do it. Hey,
don't do it.
But hold on, Joel. So I mean, that's really interesting to me that you're in college. How old were you? I know you just moved out of your house. How old were you at this time when you bought this condo?
18.
18 years old. I mean,
Yeah.
Most 18-year-olds don't even consider. I mean, I certainly didn't. I'll tell you. Here's the deal. I was 31 before I bought my first house, and by the time I was 26, I was making $100,000. I could have bought a house. It literally didn't occur to me. What was it about you that it occurred to you and you go, yeah, I'll do this, and it makes sense.
Well, so, I was always a numbers guy, and honestly, part of the reason I got out of the house so early, at the time, my parents, and growing up, we had a very, very great relationship. My parents were that tough love kind of, at 16, my buddies are getting cars, and I'm like, Mom, hey, so-and-so got a car. She's like, you want a car? Get a job.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is so unfair. But, we're so very close now, and I'm so incredibly thankful for that. I certainly was not at the time. I mean, I kind of left out of sheer rebellion. But, when we looked at it in the Kelowna market, where we are, so we're in a market called the Okanagan, like basically Canada's Napa, between Vancouver and Calgary. And, just a really, really great market. And luckily for us, there were places under $100,000 in the Canadian lending market. We needed to come up with 5% down. So as a finance guy, I just ran the numbers, like rent or buy. Well, it's cheaper to buy, and I'm building equity. And off we went.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Well, I think from a mindset perspective, we might explore that a little bit more, because I think from a mindset perspective, there's something there. I mean, I can tell you that when I was 18, I didn't know which direction I was going to go, right, left or right. And I think for me, I would have been anti-house because I'm anchoring myself to a location. And I think I would have equated ownership with lack of freedom. But maybe you wanted that. Maybe getting anchored is a thing that you needed. I don't know.
Well, a big thing for me, I mean, I sort of thought, okay, I have 4 years to get my degree, be a stockbroker, and then build my business, as a stockbroker. That was sort of my goal. My father was in the financial services. And so, it was always, we talked a lot about investments, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be here 4 years paying rent to someone else, I might as well be paying it to me.
Okay. All right.
And, I was always sort of wired that way, and partly because of that upbringing of get out and earn if you want something. So, I had jobs very early, from paper routes to making sandwiches to running retail shops. And, Okay. I've just sort of always been wired that way.
Well, me too. I think we're very similar in that regard. Okay, so you graduate undergrad with a degree in finance. Did you make it to Wall Street or no?
No, actually, you know what? So after kept flipping houses. And
wait.
Where I'm going,
in college, you did more than one flip in college?
Well, so the first flip, got out of that one.
Yep.
And then got into another one that was mine, quote unquote, and basically bought the same unit, did the same reno. And as soon as that one was done, I thought, I wonder if I could sell this one. So here I was, first year of college, two flips, and I'm sitting there going, well, hold on. Everyone's telling me I'm going to be in school for 4 years, then I'm going to be getting some broker coffee, getting yelled at, making $30,000 a year.
Right.
And, and I did meet some really incredible people. So and a lot of them were telling me, hey, Joel, at 20 or 24 years old, how many guys are going to write you a check for $10 million and say, have at it, kid. Hope you do well in the market for me. It's a round number. It's a very round number of 0. Mm-hmm. So, here I was going, well, I'm just part-time. If both of these flips were mine, I've made a really good return. That's a good living. And so then, just maybe took my foot off the gas pedal at school, and then started spending more time in the real estate market, to the point where got 2 years through school, and then ended up into real estate full time.
So you did not graduate?
Did not finish at that time. I'm actually back in school now.
Okay. And how old are you now, Joel?
I'm 33.
33. Okay. All right, cool. That's a good story. And just for everybody, you're doing you're going through a Harvard executive MBA right now.
Correct.
And so I can see totally how you stumbled into real estate, and most people do. Most people, that's exactly the story that people tell. Come on and you tell here is, well, I didn't really want to be in real estate, but I just, I think most people stumble into this industry, and I think just as many people that stumble in, they stumble out just as fast.
Very much, and especially in this market.
So when did you hold on. I'll just tell you very quickly. I had a very, very similar experience when I went to UCSD, and I was painting houses. I had a house painting business in the summertime, and I'd literally work super crazy hard in the summer, and I would make about $50,000 working in the summer, and then I just hung out and I waited tables during the school year, and then as soon as I graduate, I went and got the corporate job, and my salary was like $28,000 plus commission. I'm like, what's going on? I'm going backwards, and I should have. Anyhow, okay. So how did you migrate from flipping to more of a traditional real estate business?
Yeah, so I, as the projects got bigger, the banks here wanted me to have a job, and I said, well, I have a job. I'm flipping houses, and and that just wasn't sufficient to them. So I ended up, looking around at a couple different things, and I'd done I was a big car guy, still am a huge car guy. I'm really passionate about cars, and I'd done some driver training programs from BMW and racing M3s. And,
I race 911s. Well, again, something similar. So you're a BMW guy?
So BMW guy.
Okay.
And then I they were opening a dealership here, and very arrogantly, as I was later told, I kind of called them and said, hey, if you hired all your sales guys, I think I'd be really good at that. And, so it got me an interview, and I ended up, and the clincher of that question, in that interview, the guy had said, well, you've never sold cars before. What makes you think you can start at BMW? And he said, if a 60-year-old guy tells you, should I lease or purchase my $160,000 7 Series, what are you going to tell him? And I said, really glad you brought that up. Let's walk through the finance side of it. And so, it was a great opportunity. I sort of stumbled into that. And, I was number 2 in Canada for our level of stores, and it was a very good business for me. And it did give me a great income that allowed me to come and go. And, it was a lot of fun, and I met an incredible group of people, like every doctor, lawyer, you name it in our area. And it was, but the challenge I had is I was doing so much of the research for my real estate properties, right? I was wearing a suit to work every day, and I would go and meet my realtor. And in our market, it's a beautiful lake town. We joke that it's Kelowna, but it's a very beachy, casual town. So I would go to meet my realtor in a suit, and oftentimes they might not be dressed as professionally and had a rather lackadaisical approach at times. Not all of them, but some. And, for me, I was usually a little bit over budget. There was our market was screaming red hot, and I already had the next project in my sights, and I needed the capital out of that project and the profit and wanted to move on. So I was like really driving these guys forward. And then it got to a point where there was so much money being paid out in commissions. And one of the realtors that I really enjoyed working with and was a friend of mine. We started talking about it, and he was the one who sort of inspired me. He said, Joel, with your database, sales skills, and knowledge of real estate, like, you've got to get out of the car business and get over here, and you'll make more money and get access to all the deals right on the front lines and just be in real estate 24/7. And so off we went. That was where I got into the brokerage before having a real estate license.
Right. Tell me your mindset around, because look, here's the thing, right? Real estate is interesting in the sense that if you're an agent, right, this is very different from being an investor. And I want to talk about this a little bit, because when you were selling the BMWs, all you needed to do was invest your time and energy, and you make a sale, you get a commission, and you move on. When you flip a house, there's actual risk, right? Because you're putting up your own capital, and there's risk of you bought it at the wrong price. There's risk of you open up a wall and geez, there's black mold, right? There's risks there.
Totally.
Is some of that risk mitigation some of the reason why you migrated out of investing and then into more of a traditional model?
So, I mean, we still, I say we now, one of my clients is arguably one of the most talented builders here, and she and I had very similar mindsets. So now, I mean, I still buy, fix, and flip as an agent, but now I do it in a partnership with her on every single deal.
Why do you do that, Joel?
Because it allows us to be in our really authentic, best, highest and best use roles.
Okay.
Right. I'm out scouring the market, finding the deals, crunching the numbers, and then I bring her in and she crunches the numbers on the reno. Then we look at, okay, is there enough profit in this home? Should we do this? And then we pull the trigger on it. But for me, when I was doing it with a paid contractor, I felt like they didn't have enough skin in the game. If they were slow or went over budget, then sometimes they just made more money.
Yeah.
And, so I loved the idea of, I didn't really enjoy, as a contractor, and, she enjoys it, so I can say this, but as a contractor, she's always, it's not like your drywall guy calls you and goes, hey, everything's going great today, and I'm right on time, just wanted to let you know.
Right.
When your phone rings, and so I didn't love that part of it.
No.
But going back to where I got into the real estate sales side, getting out of the auto business, The auto business was hard for me because I'm such a relational seller, and people would be like, "Hey, Joel, I really love the service that you're providing." And you know, I mean, I think I sold so many cars because I didn't really care if people bought cars.
Right.
I had another income source. And, you know, I'd always say to people, you know, they'd come in with this tenseness to them, and I'd just say, like, you don't have to buy a car today, do you? And they would calm right down, and they'd say, well, if I found the right one, I would. And I said, great, let's drive some cars and figure it out.
Right, let's have some fun.
And it was a very, yeah, exactly. And we would, you know, and it was fantastic, but it was also very successful. So, you know, but what I found, though, is like you're in a closed shop at a car dealership. If you're at BMW and someone's like, hey, I really like working with you, but I think I'm going to buy that Mercedes. Can you go and get it for me? I couldn't. Mm-hmm. So I'm losing a commission check.
Right.
And the commission checks, you know, so then I'm going, well, if I was in real estate, that relationship would be the, you know, the glue, if you will. And the commission checks are quite a bit larger. And, you know, so then I made the jump.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And did you? I think one good point that you made here, and I hope everybody can really digest what you said about, you know, you had an abundance mindset. You're like, yeah, you can buy a car, you cannot buy a car, right? Let's have some fun. Do you like the 3 Series? The 7? What do you like, right? It was all about connecting the dots, making that relationship, and the selling or buying a car was just a byproduct of what you did there. And I think too many agents are out there. They're just like, I need a commission. You know, buy this, help. Let me work with you. That they're just project neediness, and nobody wants to work with a needy anything because I think
and that's.
Well, here, let's make this point real quick, because I think if you are projecting neediness, and I think you're needy, I'm going to automatically assume that you're going to be making decisions not in my best interest, but in yours, or just to get a deal done really quickly.
100%. I couldn't agree more, and I'm so excited because like our entire business is built around that. Like our mantra in the team is look after the client, and the paychecks look after themselves.
Right.
And you know, over 10 years in the license side of this, and you know, one of the top producing teams in this area, and literally like we have so much of our business, like almost just under 70%, like 68.5% of our transactions last year were repeat referrals.
Okay.
Like walking, talking billboards. And it's fantastic. Like we just have client advocates, and it's some of the innovative strategies we use. It's the communication systems that we have in place. You know, so we can tell someone, if we list your house, you're going to hear from us, hot market, cold market, whatever. No matter what's going on, you're going to hear from me every Friday.
You personally?
Oh, well, or
okay.
One of my agents on the team. If one of our listing agents is the point person on that, for sure.
Okay. Well, and so, I mean, Tony Robbins talks about this a lot, right? He says, hey, make your customers raving fans. And if you can make them raving fans, you're done, right? And you really, here's the thing, you know, there's lots of books on this, right? Your 100 true followers, or, you know, there's the 1,000 true fans. So, I love everything that you're doing so far. What are some of these innovative strategies? How did you get, you know, you stumbled into real estate, it aligns, doing a traditional business aligns with what you're doing in terms of being super relationship focused.
Yeah.
Now what?
So, yeah, I mean, and Tony Robbins, huge fan, been to lots of his programs, have incorporated a lot of what he talks about into our culture, into our goal setting. Everything. Brian Buffini, lots of his strategies are in our business, you know, from regimented, scheduled marketing plans so that, you know, we set expectations for our clients and then follow through on them. But one of the, you know, so there's a lot of that we feel is quite innovative, but a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
One of the most innovative things we did, like, you know, so when I got into this market, I had sold some properties that I owned because we're starting the brokerage, and then literally the market just fell apart. Totally slowed down. So, you know, looking on that in hindsight, I sold at the top and got in at the bottom on the sales side, which was fantastic. But, you know, it's a very different market. I mean, I knew a red hot market as an investor, and then I was learning as a realtor or a real estate salesperson from a very slow market. And, you know, so coming in with this value mindset, we found that so many people were trying to sell their home in a slow market in order to buy something else. They want to sell their 5-bedroom to get into that townhouse. They want to sell their 3-bedroom to get into a 5-bedroom, whatever it might be. And so we, as a brokerage at that time, started training our guys like, hey, ask those questions. We know what they have. We're touring it, giving them price on it, but find out where they're going next. So that we have the details on haves and wants. And oftentimes we found that there were matches. There was someone who had a 5-bedroom that was on the market that they were trying to sell, and they wanted to buy a 3-bedroom. And then there was someone else on the market who had a 3-bedroom trying to sell it desperately to buy a 5-bedroom. So we'd introduce them. Why don't you buy their property? They can buy this property.
You built a marketplace.
Well, and
that's
so
a
what
marketplace.
We did is Exactly. Yeah. In the brokerage, and then we introduced it to, we'd have what we called the Go Fish Lunch, and we'd get a couple agents together, and, we'd just go through our inventory. I got a gal who owns a penthouse who wants to get onto the waterfront. Does anyone have waterfront to penthouse? Yes. Okay, good. Talk to me after. And we would make deals. And these deals, it was great value, too, when we put that into our listing presentation. Here's our website. Here's this. We use the MLS. We do all these things that are very, very valuable, but everyone else was saying it. So then all of a sudden, we'd go and we also have this innovative strategy, and it was something we hadn't heard before. And for us, in really slow markets, it was great because on those follow-up calls, I'd call and I'd say, hey, June, no showings this week, but I found you these 2 trade options. And she'd look at them and say, no, thanks, Joel, don't like them. Thanks for working so hard. And I'd be like, great, no problem. Talk to you next week. Next week, I'd call, same thing. No showings this week, but I did get 1 trade option. What do you think of it? She'd say, you know what, Joel, I don't like it. Why don't we do that price reduction you talked about? And it wasn't this fight. It wasn't like they were sitting there in a quiet market trying to figure out what we were doing or were we working for them. They knew it was a priority. They were a priority to us. And, the interesting part for us is now that our market has shifted, and so we're in a very hot market now, and those strategies are still the same, but now it's on the buy side. So now we have clients who are like, hey, I really want that penthouse. I know I can list my waterfront place and it's going to sell really fast, but I don't want to list it until you find me X. Yeah. So now we use it the other way around, right? So we'll make a profile, and now we're matching up properties like almost pre-market before they go to the market.
But let me ask. So sorry, Joel, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
Well, so go ahead. So I love the notion of a marketplace, and there's nothing but value there for the client, but you have to have a very big database or very big pool that you're working with in order to mix and match appropriately. Here's my question to you. If I were in your shoes and I was using this strategy and Julie comes to me and she has a 5-3, but she's getting older, right? And she wants a downtown condo, I would actually advertise for that. I would do Facebook ads and go desperately looking for, downtown condo at $550 to $650. So did you use this strategy? Did you actually market this strategy?
100%.
Okay. How did you do that?
Like this didn't replace anything for us. This was incorporated in our listing presentation to let clients know that here we do everything that everyone else is doing. We do it very well. We have a great website, great web presence, and we do this, right? Yep. We're also going to go and flyer this area for the type of property you're looking for. And if we find it traditionally, then we list your property and sell it, no problem. But this was also a strategy that we talk about, and it worked so well that all of a sudden we'd have clients going, hey, you know what? I got this ski condo at the resort that's 45 minutes away. My kids don't ski anymore. I'd totally trade it to something on a beach somewhere. And I thought, well, I'm not really talking to agents in Mexico every day. So the chances of me coming across a match like that are slim to none. And so I'd always talked about it, that we almost need to make we almost need to make like a dating site for real estate deals, so that an agent can do everything that they're already doing, and then also build a profile out. Here's what my client has, here's what my client wants, and then sit back and wait for those perfectly matched deals just to show up in my inbox. And so that's where we're at now. We just built that.
Okay. You built that? What's the what's the domain?
It's called househarmony.com. It is just in beta right now. Like, we're open in 7 markets, and we're just, because, I mean, as you can imagine, right, that algorithm needs to work differently. In rural Saskatchewan in Canada, right, a 5-mile variance is totally acceptable. In downtown New York, in Manhattan, a 5-mile variance would be the difference between a great match and an absolutely terrible. How did this system come up with that match?
Right.
So we do have to make some regional changes. So we do roll it out market by market.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so you built up a dating site for which I think is how do you in prior to building this, in what ways did you let your market know that you were because this is actually an interesting niche, right? This could be your. I always talk to people and say, hey, you need to have your own unique value proposition, and I, for our radio clients, I always tell them, when they do a listing presentation, do that exact same thing. Say, hey, listen, here's why I'm different, right? The first thing I'm going to do when you sign that listing agreement is I'm going to scrub this property against our database. And lots of times, hey, well, we can potentially get you an offer before it even gets listed. Now, that's just a sales pitch,
Right. And so, for us, we would sit there and our niche, right, is definitely, we talk about high service and innovators. Like, we're going to, and then we get to, so that's almost a platitude, right? Like, so many people say that,
yeah.
But then when they meet us, it's like, high service, here's the marketing reports you're going to be guaranteed. We track everything, and it's open book to you, right? And then we're innovators, and we have these strategies. And they're like, wow, I've never heard that before, and it makes sense. It's not like they want to hang their entire chance of selling that home on that one thing, but that is something that we can bring them that is innovative, that they
unique.
haven't heard of before,
right.
And it's unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you'd be the first guy in my living room to tell me that. So let me
exactly. So
hold on. So why didn't you, prior to building this dating site or House Harmony, why didn't you have a button on your site somewhere that says, and basically promote pocket listings, or put something like, because I think this is a way people could use this to build their list, right? You have a button and go, see my my hidden listings or not yet listed. So, I don't know, something like that. They're like, oh crap, I want to see what's hidden behind that.
I still, to this day, I still call every for sale by owner in our market. Number one, because we want to know what they have in case we have a buyer. We're very active in this area, and we want to know, what's the layout of the house? Is there 2 bedrooms up, 1 down? How, give me some details. Does it have a pool? And we get that information for our buyers. And we also pose a question to them. Hey, where are you going next? If I come across someone who has that and wants this, can I call you back? And then we tell them about the system, and oftentimes they want us to build them a profile. Well, now we're offering them value. And as we all know, the average frustration point on a for sale by owner is about 40 days. And we're, so many people will call that for sale by owner and say, hey, want to list with me?
Right.
We're the only people who call them, give them value. So, most of the time we just get the listing, but oftentimes, at least if they're interviewing a couple of agents, we're in that room. So we do have a lot of strategies around that one. And frankly, we make more commission checks from, the dialogues and the, the uniqueness of it, than actually of the exact trades. And that was the thought for the database. It's like, once we get everyone's inventory in here, in a hot market, in our market, we got not a ton of listings right now. Like, we're sitting on about 2.4 months of inventory. But every agent has 5 to 10 people they're talking to who would sell if we could find this.
Right. And so again, I mean, I love the strategy, and I see this more, Joel. Certainly, if you can match a buyer and seller, like, that's brilliant. Okay. Now, I don't know how often you do that. I think you're indicating that you do it often, but overall, I see this as more of a pitch than an actual strategy, and I could be completely wrong. So, how do you augment this strategy? So what else do you do?
Yeah. Augmenting the strategy, and we always looked at it like, remember that game of memory with the cards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you have 10 cards, there's 5 matches, they're easy to find. But really, to make a successful real estate business out of this, and to really add the gasoline on the fire, we need to be matching everyone's inventory. But that has a lot of challenges to it, right? I mean, you're not going to openly share that you might share it openly with your office, but you're not going to share it openly with every agent, right? Here's what I got coming.
Share what? Share your coming soon inventory?
Well, so in a hot market for us right now, I have a lot of clients who are looking for something specific, right? But they don't want me advertising openly, penthouse in this exclusive building is going to be coming up for sale, and we want something on the waterfront, because then the cash buyers who are looking for a penthouse in that exclusive building, and there are a lot of them, would be banging on her door, making her unsolicited offers, and then, her greatest fear is that she's going to sell and be homeless in a hot market.
Yep. Right.
So she doesn't want that yet, but we get to make her a profile in this protected ecosystem and get enough of the other agents using it. And hopefully there's someone else on the other end of this who's sitting there with the match on the other side. Now, for us, right, I mean, this is an added hook in the proverbial water, right? It takes 45 seconds to input to have on the one. Upload some photos, copy the listing over, and then give us some general info. So for me, I'm always, on each of my listings, I build out a profile. Unless someone's saying, I'm selling this house, Joel, and I'm going to buy some Apple stock, and I'm out of real estate. That would be the only time I don't build someone a profile. But for me, it's like an insurance policy that I don't miss one of those deals. We don't get matches on all of them, but we'll probably do 7 to 10 transactions a year from matched deals like this.
Right. Okay.
And then there's the additional listings we pick up and the price reductions we get from the strategies. So it's, it is an integral part of our business. And it's, I look at it like that insurance policy.
So, okay. So I'm understanding a little bit more. So even you do 100 deals a year, and I know it's 100 plus, but just rent 100 deals, and you might match, as you just said, 5 to 7, you might find a match. So a pretty low percentage.
7 to 10.
7 to 10. Okay. Call it 10.
Yep.
Call it 10, which means that you match 10%. So how I think you are using a strategy is because you are leading with your client. Hey, Julie, we didn't do any showings, but I got these 2 trades. What do you think? It greases the wheel for her to go, okay, man, yeah, we're not, we might be priced a little bit high. Let's go ahead, Joel, and do that price reduction. So I get that. So what I want to know from you is how this accounts for 10 deals or 10%. What about the other 90? What are some of the things that you're doing? Whether I know your 68% is referral, but what are the other things you're doing to grow your business to get to this point?
Yeah, you bet. So I guess it's sort of 2 prongs. I mean,
okay.
That 5 to 7 on the match side is really just in a very small group of people that we meet with, right? So We're playing that memory game with 100 cards now. If we can be playing it with 10,000 cards, you need a machine to help you match that, or it would take you, all day to sift through that. Mm-hmm. But, so that's the idea of expanding it out with the system and the algorithm to do the work for us, is we will be able to grow that section of our business, I feel, not exponentially, but huge. And then, the rest of our business is very, very traditional. I mean, I love Brian Buffini's value-based. The mayor campaign is just embedded in me, right? I mean, I'm always, you get your real estate radar on. I do also quite involved in the community. we give a huge amount back into our database. Like, we spend far more money incubating the people, our A pluses, our A's, our walking, talking billboards, our advocates, lots of client gifts, just push tons of value into that market and really pour ourselves into those clients. And then they go out and bring us referrals back. So that's a huge strategy for us, by far the most successful, and where we've seen very controlled growth.
So but specifically, Joel, what do you, I get it. So you have all these diplomats running out there and what you just said to me, or how I understood what you just said, was we'll spend money developing our A plus or A's in our database. And that money is better deployed through, client appreciation parties. I don't know what it is, but that money is better deployed in building up and developing our customer list rather than buying radio ads. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Well, and definitely, there is a portion for traditional marketing avenues, but a cornerstone of our business is what we call our 33 touch program. And a lot of this is systemized, right? There's monthly mailers that go out that we create ourselves that we feel are highly valuable and original valuable content. And then there's
give me before we move on, give me an example of that. What kind of content is that you think is valuable that you?
So the last one that went out, Remax, which is we're now with Remax since I've since sold my independent brokerage, and 4 years ago we moved over to Remax, and I'm just focusing on growing the team and growing House Harmony. But so Remax puts together, here's a market report, and it's 42 pages. So we'll take that down, we'll attach the report, send it out to everyone as most people would. But it's, we'll distill it down and say, here's what this means to Kelowna, our take on what this means. And then we'll link back to important sightings in the report. So we give people the Coles notes. That was the last one we sent out. It might be a feature on a local business that's owned by a client of ours that we feel would be great value. So it's just, again, it's knowing that client base and seeking to find things that they will find valuable, not so much like sweet chocolate cake recipes.
Right. Stupid. Right. Yeah. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about, so your database is huge. I want to ask you a couple of things on your database. So number one, other than having your diplomats or advocates running around saying Joel's the best, what are some of the other ways that you are deliberate about building your list? You're building your database.
Online lead generation, a huge number of different avenues.
Okay.
We're very active in a couple of buildings, like prestigious, very exclusive buildings. So we've actually gone out and built info sites where you can see all the active listings in that building. You can see the recent solds. And on a number of those buildings, we've actually given the strata logins. So we've built this website, and hey, the strata doesn't have a message board. We'll go ahead and build that for them. We pay for it. It's free to them. For us, it's a great asset because now all of a sudden every single owner in that building is going to our site every month to see their strata minutes. So when they think of selling, they're calling us. Yeah,
that's a great idea. That is a great idea. So now help me, because I'm in San Diego, so I'm not sure that for the people who don't understand, and including me, what is this thing that you're building? A message board for the buildings? I don't know what it is.
Well, it's just a portal. So the strata guys. So we use WordPress, right? It's a templated website that we have, and then there's a member backend that we give to them. So it's password protected. They manage it. They can post their HOA notes. They can post their bylaws. They can post their rules. They can even post their financials if they want. They can use it as just a message board. Really, we just give them the free vehicle. It's up to them to develop it.
Got it. And how? And then so in terms when you say develop, you're just saying add content to it.
Add the content.
Okay.
And some people use it, as the message board. Some people actually will post all of their financials and use it as like the full communication for the HOA.
So you had, if I'm understanding, because this is pretty interesting. So you had your developer go and develop a templated, WordPress site, not a big deal. You give them the template and probably explain to somebody there how to add content and how other people are using it. And then I'm assuming you host it on your servers.
So we host it. I mean, we're already using the site to develop, SEO rankings. We'll have photos of the amenities in the building, details on the art, and those are publicly visible. The active listings in the building, the recent sales in the building. We're doing that anyways. So this backend is just added. It's a very inexpensive add-on that is, again, just like for us, we're so focused on just drown people in value, and they have to use you.
Is it like a wish list? Because we have a membership site and we use wish list. Is it like a wish list plugin?
It's very similar to that. Yeah,
okay.
It's just member access.
Okay.
So it's like it's a member access message board. It's actually a WordPress template. And to be honest with you, I'm not the expert in it.
That's okay. No. Yeah. So tell me then. I love it, but how are you branded on this plugin that you give them? Because what you said to me is when people use this, and then when they think about listing, it's they'll go, obviously I'm going to use Joel. How do you keep yourself in front via this plugin?
We're all over it. We're all over it, and then the plugin is just so like we'll build out parkplace.com, right? And you go there. There's pictures of the building. There's a list of active listings. You can sign up for new listing updates. You can sign up for recent sold lists and info on that. And that's publicly available. Everyone sees that. And that's branded by us. The leads come to us. And SEO, that helps us get to the top of, when somebody searches Park Place for sale, boom, we're right at the top.
Right.
So that's how it makes us money. And then on that, parkplaceforsale.com or parkplace.com, whatever it is. So then the strata owners or the HOA owners in the building, if they're using that portal, they log into our website, they see our branding, they know we run that site about their building, and then there's a members login area, so every time they go to our site to log in for this backend, not all of them use it,
right?
But we've got a lot of feedback where we give it to them, they bring it up in a strata meeting and say, hey, this real estate company, Sherlock and Associates, gave us a free website. Then they vote it down, or maybe they use it. But everyone always comes out of there going, wow, that was nice of them.
Yeah, right. And then so obviously for the members to log in, right, it's password protected. They have to, excuse me, put in their email. Do you get those emails as well?
We do the deal. So if the strata allows us to have them, yes. But if the strata says no, then we don't.
Okay.
So we ask. I mean, privacy laws in Canada, we do have to get their buy-in before we could actually send them any info.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've proven, and we proved that we started getting more calls from the owners of the building, owners that we'd never talked to, hadn't heard of before.
Right.
And we, again, we track everything. Where did you hear about us? Oh, well, we're on that site all the time.
Got it.
That's
cool.
Great information.
Cool. All right. So do you have? Yeah. We have to start wrapping up here, Joel. I love that concept. I love that strategy, and I'm going to put some thought into it. I got to tell you, man. I mean, I've done 400 of these, all with super top people. You're the first guy. This is the first time I'm hearing this. So awesome job on that.
First time you're hearing both on the match strategies and the strata building.
That's right.
HOA?
The match.
Oh man, that's good. I love it.
Well, hold on. Certainly the HOA. This is the first time I'm hearing this. The match thing. Other people have mentioned it, but certainly not as deliberate or as core as you're using it. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
What else do you think, real quick, that separates you from the pack out there in Kelowna?
You know what? For us, like our CRM, we've really customized our CRM, and for me, that was just to keep me organized initially. But so. For instance, when we take a listing, there's 365 days of action steps that get applied. And each one sort of waterfalls different things. So 7 days in, it's create the 7-day marketing report, which goes to my assistant. She creates it, clicks done, it's sent, and then it prompts me to follow up. Marketing report's been sent, call Janice and just go through it with her. So, basically it was what we define as perfect service, but we really want our clients to feel like they are our only clients, but we really need them to not be our only clients.
Of course.
So that gives us great scale, but it also keeps someone like me organized, right? When those things, I do need those pop-ups because I can get so excited about deals or new projects or opportunities, that follow-up needs to be prompted to me.
I hear you.
And so that's been so key for me personally.
And what CRM do you use, Joel?
So we use Top Producer right now, but we've, over the last 10 years, we've put a ton of customization and built a lot of custom plans, and we don't use any of their templated emails. We've created all of our own. But, for me, anytime we ever run into a challenge in a deal, then we'll build a system in place to check checks and balances just to make sure that never happens again. Because I always joke that, I've never made any mistakes in business. I've just found effective ways that don't work. Right.
There you go. Again, mindset. Okay. Well, that's awesome, man. Let me ask you this. So certainly you said when they list, there's a 365-day plan for you. How else or how often are you connecting with your regular database, right? Just these are past clients or prospects. What are you doing with those folks in terms of development?
So we got a 33 touch program.
Okay.
So, and 12 of those touches are a mailer. We do 2 client parties a year. I'm still a huge believer in handwritten personal notes.
Yep.
And I'm the closest thing the Sherlock family ever had to a doctor. I have terrible handwriting,
right.
But there's still we have a very interesting market here. We have homes from $2 million to $20 million, and I have some luxury clients where there's nothing in the world I could have purchased for them, but I've written them a handwritten note, sent it to them, and it's still sitting on their desk 6 months later. So for me,
I would say even with your crappy handwriting.
Even with my crappy handwriting.
It's a message that counts. Are you familiar with bond.co?
Yeah, they don't ship in Canada.
Oh, that
my
stinks.
Heart.
Yeah, that stinks. Okay.
But no, I love it. I would be really interesting to know how many people are using it and how many people are familiar with it. But I think it's a brilliant service. I've actually, while I was in New York, I did go stop by and see those guys. Yeah,
I think more people should be using it. It's why not? Okay, listen. We always ask for a book recommendation, so we're gonna end this. I'm gonna ask you some questions that I ask everybody. So, book recommendation. Here's a setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy right now?
Well, see, this is biased because I have one coming out called Match. But if you only had $25, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller.
Yeah, one more. We get that one too much.
Yeah, totally. Shift, also brilliant.
Shift.
Okay. Yeah.
I have not read that one. Let me see. Who wrote that?
Also Keller.
Oh.
And so it was him and someone else.
Jay Papasan.
Yeah. And honestly, 100 Days to Greatness, or what's now Peak Producers, which is Buffini's program.
Got it.
I'm still a certified mentor with the Buffini Group. I love, yes, his stuff and is laced with lots of sales opportunities, but so is Tony Robbins. They can confidently sell what they're doing because they believe in it, and it really is value. So, but definitely, Gary Keller, amazing books.
Okay. So you guys, if you want to read Shift, you can get a free copy on us. Just use our link. Just go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Joel, you're a young guy. You're a successful guy. You've found success early. Do you have a daily habit that you think has contributed to your success?
Yeah, daily habits, certainly. I mean, I come and go and, from working out to my meditation practice, but really just making sure that I have a proper balance. Turning my phone off one day a week, imperative. But I would say, even more so than my daily habits, mentors. Mentors for me have pushed me past those barriers in my mind, and they've been the ones who really have shifted my mindset and really rocket fuel on the growth.
And I wish we would have talked about this earlier. How do you, when you say mentors, right? Certainly, I can say Tony Robbins is a mentor of mine. I don't know Tony,
Yeah.
but are these people like Tony Robbins or Gary Keller that you can view and learn from afar, or are these people that are in your market that have been there, done that before you?
You know what? I was very, very blessed early on to just bump into a gentleman, started talking cars. Turns out he was in real estate. We got to chatting. And, it turns out he was the founder.
Dude, are you kidding me?
You've reached the voicemail of Joel
God
Sherlock.
dang
Please
it.
leave me a message.
Joel, what's up with this dude's phone? Sorry, guys. Stuff happens. Stand by.
Joel speaking.
Joel, Toby, you dropped, man. So here's what you said. You probably just told a brilliant story, but here's what you said.
Oh, it was so good.
Here's where you dropped. You said, I bumped into a guy and he just happened to be the founder of, and then you went dark.
Okay, founder of Century 21 in Canada.
Got it.
Sold that in the late 80s. Big franchise guy involved with Fabby 10, Massage Envy, and his name's Peter Thomas.
And so you hold
again,
on. So you bump into this guy, you hit it off, you have stuff in common. In what way how did you say, hey, Mr. Whatever, I'd love for you to be my mentor or mentor me? How did you do that?
You know what? It was very just sort of organic. We sort of just, we'd have coffee, and then he had bought one of these amazing 599 Ferraris, and then I was talking about how much I'd love to see it, and then he ended up bringing it to Kelowna and brought it down to see me, and it just kind of grew that way. And I was very open with him that I would love to work on something with you in the future. And he said, you know what, Joel, I love your energy, and let's definitely keep in touch. And so the conversations just sort of grew from there. And then we ended up finding a very rare car, and I had the opportunity to drive with him from Kelowna to his home in Victoria, which is 6 hours away. And I thought, this is an unmistakable opportunity. I have to jump on it. He said, do you have time tomorrow? My schedule was so full. And I said, absolutely.
Wow. Great story.
And that was really, amazing.
Well, look, man, I always tell the audience if they've gotten anything out of this, and I did, so I'm sure they did, but I always tell them to reach out. I encourage them to reach out and let you know.
Please do.
So where can people find more about you, or how can people reach you?
So on househarmony.com, or our real estate team is sherlockandassociates.ca, all written out, really long URL. Social media, Joel Sherlock on Twitter.
Perfect.
Any of those, I'd love to chat.
Those are all those. So, look, I'll be the first guy to kick off that thank you train. Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
You got it.
Thanks
all right.
so much for having me.
Hey, look, I of course, absolutely. I wish you all the success in the world with House Harmony. Building marketplaces are hard, but that being said, I can tell you, I'm sure once you actually build a marketplace, they are impossible to kill. So I wish you success in that. And you and I, man, let's just keep in touch. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
See you.
Let's go.